Hi, guys. Good morning to people in Canada and good evening or good afternoon to people around the globe. My name is Sahil, and thanks a lot for joining in today on today's Canadian Immigration Live, where we discuss everything about Canadian immigration, anything and everything that happened in the past 1 week. We will be giving you short and crisp updates without getting into much details that can get confusing or boring to a lot of people, but we will definitely try our best to cover everything in detail, give you the best information. Now, on the agenda today, we have a couple of important things to discuss. We will start with Express Entry. Last week was definitely much better than expectations. People had all varied expectation. In fact, people were not expecting a low cutoff. They wanted, but not expecting though. Apart from this, we will be bringing you the new portals. There are two new portals that are being launched, so you might want to stick around up until the end. The very important information will be coming through. Couple of updates on Ontario PNP as well. We have Saskatchewan on the block. We have Alberta. So yes, we will be discussing the PNPs as well. And then by the end, our beloved Q&A. So where you get to ask your questions for free, and we will give you all the answers and much needed directions on this Q&A platform today. So today's live is expected to be very, very interesting. Let's just quickly get started with the Express Entry. Now, beloved Express Entry has been in the news for a very, very long time. And of course, the latest media frenzy where people are sharing updates on removal of spousal points, what's happening. In fact, we shared our X as well, where our very good friend Mandeep Lidhar, he got the notes through an ATIP where there was an email discussion between IRCC, so between multiple stakeholders of IRCC and the team, where they were discussing the issue. So this is from the last year, 2024, and apparently this thing has caught light after Mandeep shared it on his X and other platforms, and then we started sharing that as well. Um, but yes, guys, first let's look at the pool, and then first let's look at the draws that happened this week, and then we'll get over to the pool and see what can you expect in the times to come. Now, if you look at the draw that happened very recently on June the 12th, which is just about day before yesterday, this was a CC only draw, where the number of invitations were kept at 3,000. Well, we all know that if IRCC, and we have been repeatedly saying that if IRCC continues to hold back to back draws, then the going down of CRS points would never be a surprise, right? If you look at the draw once again, the CRS distribution is again fantastic. 257,000 people. First of all, this is a high number, higher than the previously recorded numbers. We have seen numbers go down to 213, 214. So this has been, this has been up all the way. Uh, I'm not surprised because IRCC has not been holding consistently high volume draws. They have been holding consistent draws. That's a good news, but they have not been bringing in draws back to back. But what's important to see here is that this is the distribution as of June 11th, and this draw happened on June 12th, which means minus 3,000, and also the minus 128 people who were invited in the PNP draw. So none I mean, very, very few people above 600, which would include people actually in the PNP draw. So yes, because PNPs have not been sending out invitations, ONP has been holding back, and everybody else has been majorly holding back. So not a lot of NOIs are going through. So this is not unexpected. But 501 is 25,000 people. Now, if you look at IRCC holding, now simple question: will or can we see a sub 500 draw? Honestly, there are 25,000 people sitting above 500. Okay. Assuming IRCC holds 3,000 people worth of draw minus the 20% where people, um, reject the draws or are not eligible and whatnot. Although I don't see why people would start rejecting draws now, especially when the draws are not happening. So, assuming that drop to be 10% instead of the 20%, or the people being, weeded out, with that thought, approximately 2,500 people, we are looking at 10 draws. And then you are expecting people to be added, give or take, say 20% gets added more, which is another 5,000 people. So that's about two more draws. 12 draws to hit sub 500. Now we are only sitting in the month of June and we are reaching July. So every month you would see two draws, so 6 months. So by the end, so even if IRCC holds consistent 3000 draws, by the end of this year we can only hope to reach a number close to 500, depending upon how many more profiles get added in the system, how many people get removed from the system, and how many people reject the file. That also is going to impact. So very clearly put forward in front of you, sub 500 at this moment appears a bit far fetched. But yes, what is a safe number? I would say anywhere around 5 10, 515. Hopefully, if IRCC again holds back to back draws, if IRCC again stops, takes breaks, pauses, or holds smaller draws, then nobody can say. Now, I've always been advocating that IRCC, based on the previous NCIC, the national conference that we had very recently in Alberta, there only IRCC said that we were busy in the first half of this year. We were busy landing people from 2024, 2020 three, and the spillover of those draws. Now, since a lot of landings have happened so far in this year, I believe this is the sign when IRCC starts gearing up in the second half of the year, where whatever draws they start bringing in, most of these people should be landing in the year 2026. So almost around the next 1 month or 2 months, we should see people being spilled over to the next draw. So that is something that you can always expect. But overall, I believe the pool is still looking fine. If you look at the trade draws, IRCC is we're just waiting for a trade draw to happen anytime soon. The if you Let me just bring it up on the screen once again. Yes. So, if you look at the previous rounds, so previous rounds is no, not this one. Yes. So if you look at the previous rounds, provincial nominee program 125 people only brought at 784. Healthcare people brought at 504. This was also a number where people were not we were not expecting. People were expecting a lower cutoff. And then if you look at trade draws, so far in this year, the trade draws have not happened, and people are really waiting for trade draws to happen because um, cooks have been added to this. And whenever cooks get added, that means a lot of people without any licenses are able to get into the cook NOC code, and hence that further impacts the number of people who will be invited in trade. So yeah, that's something that will happen in the time to come. But overall, I believe IRCC's express entry pool is sitting at a promissory place. If they hold back to back draws, we have very high expectations that the CRS scores would go down. How much of a score would go down? I don't know. I'm expecting 5, so I'm bullish at 510. I'm bullish at 515. 505 is bit of a stretch, I believe, but by the end of this year, I hope to see at least 510. That's my expectation. If you look at healthcare, I believe that should go somewhere around 470s or 480s, considering how many support workers and all of those they get pushed off in the CC draws. So once the CC draws start happening, healthcare and everybody will also start pushing off. Okay, so that should bring down the number. Trade also we are waiting to see. So yeah, I mean the second half of the year should be pretty exciting in terms of express entry. Again, if you have any comments or if you have any questions, you can start pouring them in the comment section. We will take your questions on this very very soon once we are done with the presentation today. Guys, overall, in another news, very important for people, I believe, is the launch of the new portal. I'm not sure if a lot of people are following that, but IRCC has released a new portal. This particular portal is now live and it is for applicants only. This is not for representatives so far. So, if you are applying for your file by yourself, you might want to use this portal for visitor visa and super visa, I believe. And then, yeah, so visitor visa and super visa so far, it is not meant for study as of now. But yes, hopefully they will be expanding their wings on this. But yes, you are more than 18 years, you've never applied for anything with us before, so this is for people with new applications. You're applying alone, so not for family members. Take care of these things. So IRCC's new portal, this was already in development. We had this news from IRCC, and I believe this should have the new functionalities. The new portal should have the functionalities of tracking files on a brand new portal, real time tracking updates, and also I remember last to last NCIC, IRCC did give us snippets of what functionalities they're bringing into this. Very nice. This portal should be a groundbreaking improvement from the previous portals that we have seen so far, including the GC key. And you should have live tracking updates on this. Like, very nice portal. I'm expecting. But yes, this will develop as the time continues further, right? In another important news this week, there was an announcement on the EMPP, the Economic Mobility Pathways Pilot. I had just floated a video as well, just to requote. This particular program is meant for refugees who have been given dedicated refugee status by designated organizations, and they have a job offer support from employers in Canada. IRCC previously had scheduled an end of this in March 2025, but then they have introduced more seats under the EMPP pathway, and they are scheduled to end this by end of 2025. So December 2025 is the end of the Economic Mobility Pathways pilot. So if you have a refugee status from your country, wherever you are outside Canada, you can make use of this. There are 950 spots available for people, and this pilot has been extended, so you might want to just use it to your benefit, right? um, on the other hand, IRCC did make a couple of changes. So let me just bring that up as well, where they introduced changes in the citizenship by descent. I have that. Yes. Okay. So very important for Canadian citizens. So people who are in Canada and they are planning to stay here, even temporary resident, this is for you as well. So temporary residents will become permanent residents, or hopefully will become temporary residents who will later get Canadian citizenship. For those people, um, very important to note that Canada has now introduced a citizenship by descent legislation for Canadians. This is called Bill C3. Important to note here is that you will be able to automatically give Canadian citizenship to any person who would be a citizen today, were if it not the first generation limit. So there was a limit previously, which we can have a chat at length. But under this particular citizenship legislation, if you were affected by that limit previously, you will get it. But there are a couple of requirements. The couple of requirements is that the current person who is giving as a descent should be here 1095 days ordinarily, and in Canada pre-birth, so before the birth of this child, the person should have been here. There were gaps in the previous laws that had left the lost Canadians out, so they will be able to do it. And the court importantly ruled the first generation limit unconstitutional in 2023. So this particular new legislation is an implication of the court rule that happened in 2023, and hence IRCC has decided to fix it, which I think later than never always gives benefits to people who rightfully deserve Canadian citizenship. This would be a groundbreaking update. Overall, I believe that being kept aside, very important to note is the PNP updates. Even OINP has now started rolling out a new portal. Like, after IRCC rolled out one portal, like they announced one portal, OINP has decided to roll out the brand new employer portal. But very important, guys, this makes a lot of changes in the platform. Now you have to understand this, follow this closely. The new portal, the new OINP portal says by the end of June, typically, so there are dates there, but let me just give you a brief. By the end of June, your existing EOIs will become nullified, so you will not be able to use them. Somewhere in the end of June, and by the 2nd of July, you will not be able to create more EOIs, and the portal will be shut down. And eventually, when the new portal gets launched, your employer in Ontario will be making your profile in, so they'll be submitting a job offer there, and then in attachment to that job offer, where the employer will be putting in details, you will be able to create your EOI. Now it is directly linked to your employer, and the previous issues where employers in Ontario did not give EOI forms, or they said that this is personal information, private information, we will not sign it, will not give you the revenue details. All of that is now gone. The employer will be able to directly create a file on the employer portal, will be able to upload the details, documents, whatever OINP demands, and then in connection to that job offer, you will be able to create your EOI profile, which makes it seamless. Data will flow from the employer portal to your EOI portal, and hence you will be able to provide further documentations and get done with it. That literally takes care of a lot of to and fro coordination, takes a lot of care of people who earlier thought, and employers who earlier thought, that providing information can be very risky. In fact, we here as representatives are executing NDAs with employers so that they can share information with us, and they don't want the information to be sent over to the employee. So that's a lot of facade that's going on. But let's just look at this. What OINP is saying is that the new employer portal will be launched on the 2nd of July. Here you see the date. And they say that it's a seamless integration between My Ontario and One Window, a direct communication between employers and the program, which is OINP, auto population of the fields, and simplified tracking of applications. So hopefully, quicker applications turnarounds will be effective. Again, the dates are very important. From June 20th to July 2nd, registrants will not be able to create new EOIs. June 21 and 22, EOIs will be automatically withdrawn. 27th, the system will be unavailable. They turn it off. And July the 2nd, they will be able to create a new employer portal where the new EOIs will be valid for 12 months. The employer will submit the job offer first, create a file, and then the EOI will be directly attached to your employer under the following three streams. I believe this is very good, very seamless, and really helps a lot of employees who have been begging their employers to give support, and the employers are not able to provide signed documents because the employer form, honestly, is very lengthy, number one, and also requires a lot of information to flow in. Hence, the employers are very shy of giving their personal information, and they're not happy in signing this, and hence, a lot of people are not able to get PNP. Guys, all in all, OINP has done, I believe, has hit the nail on the head, and this should hopefully work. Apart from that, OINP did have its draw, like the first draw of 2024. Just a quick reminder, I believe the draw happened on June the 6th, June the 3rd, sorry. And then with June the 3rd, June 17th, which is this upcoming week, will be your 14 days. So all of those guys who have received an invite on June the 3rd, for you people, June the 16th, or rather June the 15th, which is tomorrow, 15th or 16th should be the last day, considering the safe limit and counting the day of June 3rd as well. Although there is plus 1 day, but still, you guys have 14 days. So this upcoming week, we're already very busy with the OINP file. So this upcoming week will be very important for people who've received. And because after this draw, the further draws will be transitioned to the new EOI portal and the employer portal. The EOI portal is still the same. The new employer portal and everything will be attached to that. So this week will mark the end of everything with regards to the previous pathway of uploading employer documents. So couple of changes will happen. Overall, another important update is coming from the province of New Brunswick as well. New Brunswick has done a splendid job in getting increased allocation to PNP. Well, this is news. Guys, we all know that New Brunswick PNP had only received 1,500 spots for this particular year of 2025, and surprisingly, they had a chat with the federal government and got themselves additional how many 2750, yeah, additional 2750 spots, which will which has already been assigned as per the news update, which has already been assigned to the provincial nominee program, which is a very good news for people currently in New Brunswick and people who are thinking of moving to New Brunswick as well, because that is approximately a 200% increase now. Instead of the original 1,500, they have 4,250 spots. People who are already there, good news for you. People who have already lost hopes that they might not be invited, for you guys, they might just start inviting people in different verticals of NOC codes. This could potentially get people in EIP if they like it. But this is very, very nice. 4,250. And what if all the other provinces are able to negotiate an increase? But hang on, what we don't know so far is that what quota is this biting into? Is this biting into the Canadian experience class quota or the in Canada applications? Because IRCC definitely would not increase the overall yearly target of permanent residents. So what they would ideally do is they would reduce or bite into an existing quota of one program and then reallocate that balance quota to the other provinces. Now guys, that is something that we will know in the time to come. But yes, for now, New Brunswick has additional spots for people. So whosoever is planning to go to New Brunswick, um, and whosoever is thinking of or already living in New Brunswick will get 4,250 spots. But within this 4,250, the negotiation included resettling 400 refugees as a part of this particular increase. So 4,250. We don't have clarity whether that 10% is a clawback from the 4,250 or not. But yes, mostly it will be. But yes, 4,250 are the nominations given to PNP, along with 400 relocation of asylum claimants to New Brunswick within the next 2 years is also on charts. I hope that that number is beyond the 4250 at least. Um, Overall, for this particular week, we did have a couple of PNP updates as well. Let me just bring on the PNP updates as well. Um, so there was an ONP draw which we had already discussed, and there was also an Alberta PNP draw which happened on June the 3rd, where there was a dedicated healthcare pathway draw that happened. And apart from that, there was the Saskatchewan update. So Saskatchewan update is very key for us to discuss. I'll just bring it up on the screen. Just 1 second. Mm, 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 mm. Yes, I'm not able to find the link. But yes, overall, Saskatchewan has reached the nomination cap of 2025. That's the key update for Saskatchewan PNP. And the affected sectors will be kept at accommodation and rooms, food service. We had shared this update previously on all our social media. And that particular means that the temporary pause on new employee nominations in these sectors is paused. So the sectors affected drastically will be accommodation, food service, retail, trade, and trucking. So people will now be invited in the healthcare categories mainly, hopefully, and the construction, because that is not listed, and trade. But the 25% nomination of outside Canada nomination, so 25% cap has been reached, while they are still processing files from the inside Canada files and in the priority sectors only. So those are the important updates with regards to Saskatchewan PNP. Guys, overall, these were the important updates that happened in Canadian immigration so far this week. Like, I think this is very nice. Hopefully, IRCC will resume back to back CEC draws. But very important to see is the uh, question and answer session. I want to see what kind of questions people have, and hopefully, they will be able to, get some answers today from us. Okay, let's just see what kind of questions we have. Okay, good question. Mahesh says, what about the ONP at the GTA draw, which means ONP General Draw? So, Mahesh, whenever the draws happen, the draws that happened last week, there were the draws and the employer portal and all of those, the employer job offer draws that happened, that has been completed. All the other further EOI draws or the employer job offer draws will follow somewhere in July or August, because ONP has decided to change the pattern that they are working on. So far, the month of June had one draw in 2025, and those were the only draws that we would see this year. So far, under the previous regime, the new regime is starting July. Hopefully, we'll see new draws. So don't lose hope. But yes, GTA draws or the general draws of ONP are expected soon. Okay. Is it okay to apply for jobs in Canada from India without an express entry file? Pawan, I think this is a very good question. Yes, it is okay to apply for an LMIA based jobs, or even looking for jobs. Or if you get an LMIA, then you can apply for work permits as well without having an express entry profile. And in a way, that is even better because the officers will get a clear indication that you are not getting into dual intent. You don't have permanent residence intent behind applying for work permits. In fact, in some ways, that is even better because the that does not create a confusion, and also creates, or rather adds, certain brownie points to your profile back home. So in a way, I think that is even better if you don't have an express entry profile at the time of applying for a work permit, or even job hunting, or applying for an LMI or anything. Can you do a speculation of scores breakdown between 500 600 range, 500 510 511 to 520? Okay. Um, Amit, I've already done the speculation previously in the start of the video, but I'll do it again once. So overall, I believe this particular year, if you are looking for a sub 500 draw, in the availability of the people who are here already, we're looking at 12 draws, including the one that happened very recently. We are looking at, by the end of this year, if IRCC continues to hold draws above 3,000 3,500, considering that not a lot of people get added into the pool, and not a lot of people, or say about 20% of the people, start rejecting or withdrawing their PNP files, sorry, express entry files, at that time we can expect to see a draw closer to 500. That is what we see. But if IRCC continues to hold, draws with regards to a higher volume, say 3,000 3,500, and then hopefully, that legacy continues, then we should see a draw to as low as 510 515. That is my expectation. But IRCC is very unexpectedly taking out draws. They don't have a confirmed number quota of the draws whenever they introduce, hence nobody is able to give a very strong comment on that. But still, we expect the draws to go somewhere around 515, at least in the second half of this year. Overall, I believe the second half of this year should be a little more predictable in terms of back-to-back draws and large volume draws, because IRCC was busy landing people from previous years, and now once the landings mostly for this particular year have accounted, and they are now starting inviting people for the next year landings. So although people will land this year as well, but yes, the quotas will now flow in a more balanced manner. uh, okay. Question is, can I split my NOC code if I work for the same employer for 5 years but with different NOC duties, civil engineer and construction manager? If so, I fall under both categories of STEM and trade. Now, this question has two splits, Ali. I will explain that. Hopefully, you will be able to get some idea, but it's a more customized advice which I can give during a consultation. But let me try and give you a fair bit of idea which will help you. First part of the question is, can I split an NOC? Can I split my current job working for one employer into two different NOCs? Answer is yes. You will be creating multiple instances in your work permit. So every time there is a change in NOC code, every time there is a change in location or an employer entity, you will create a new work history entry. Here, if you are changing your NOC code, then yes, you can create a new work history entry and provide similar documentation, including one single reference letter that can identify that you worked from this date to this date in one NOC code. These were the roles and responsibilities. Then you worked from that date to the other date on a different NOC code, following with the roles and responsibilities. So I hope that gives you much clarity into your question, that can you work for the same employer with different NOC codes. But the important part that you need to understand is that, can I fall, or if you want to claim both STEM and trade, that unfortunately won't be possible, because you always select a primary NOC code. Now, whatever primary NOC code you select, that will be the consideration of your file. And if you have more than 6 months of work experience in that NOC code, and all of those things will still apply. But yes, you cannot target STEM and trade at the same time. You can only target one depending upon what is your primary NOC code. That primary NOC code need not be your current job, it can be a previous one as well. Hopefully, that answers your question that you're looking for. Okay, my work permit is expiring on June 23rd. Oh my god, it's just less than 10 days. All the best, my friend. And I am thinking of applying for a dummy work permit and a visitor status before the permit expires. With my spouse, my express entry score is 528. I am also waiting for a PNP. First of all, Navjot, you have my sincere wishes and all the best. I hope 528 happens, but my friend, June 23rd is just around the corner. It's very hard to expect another draw within a week. Hopefully, you're lucky. Yes. Um, if your work permit is expiring on June 23rd, I do not recommend applying for a dummy work permit. I don't do that because they are very closely watching dummy work permits. In fact, I was about to make a video as well. We recently had a work permit got approved in 48 hours within 2 days. Okay, so that means somebody at the back end, and I will put those screenshots on my social media, hopefully today or tomorrow. But let me tell you, they are triaging the files. Do not do anything unexpected that can potentially land you into misrep, because you're already sitting at 528. Do not do anything unexpected, because if IRCC sees that you're trying to gamify the system with a dummy work permit, and you know that you're applying for a dummy work permit, first of all, that will land into a refusal. Why do you need an extra refusal on your file? Second, what if IRCC tries to see it as a gamification and gives you a misrep? What will you do then? Then the 528 is also gone. So in my recommendation, don't do it. If you want to apply for a visitor record parallelly, that is a possibility even before the work permit expires, or you could do within 90 days after your work permit expires. Okay, so although you will not be in status, so you would want to take a balance of that. But yes, within 90 days you can apply for a visitor record with restoration. And within those 90 days, before you have applied for a visitor record, if you get an ITA, and if you get um, your file approved, or say for example file submitted, you can apply for a bridging open work permit, but with restoration. Okay, make sure that you apply with restoration if you are applying in the next 90 days. Rest, I believe you are a very smart person, you will be able to take a better call. Wish you all the best on your 528. um, okay. Sai, I am a pest examiner. I have a pest exterminator license from Ontario. Am I eligible for COQ? It's a good question. Let me see whether exterminators are eligible or not. We haven't checked so far. So, if I show you this, so this particular op manual is the one that people refer to. This is where you can see if your COQ is carrying you 50 points or not. If your pest exterminator, I don't know the NOC code though, but if your pest exterminator NOC code is here and it is attached to a COQ, then you can try and look at it. You might want to, yes, pest controller and fumigator 73202. It is a part of that. Very highly likely, if you are licensed, if you look at the NOC code, if there are more things attached to it, you might be able to just get it. Get the additional 50 points. Okay. I believe there is a question on the screen which with Darshit Girdhar. Let me just bring it up on the screen. Okay. Darshit, the question is, do I need B.Ed to work as a secondary school teacher in India? CRS will be 508, and in May 2026, should I focus on PNP on express entry 20 months PGWP still left? Should I? Okay, that's a long question. First part of the question, Dakshit. I am not sure of what is the licensing requirements in India. I am not sure if you need a B.Ed to work as a secondary school teacher. I'm assuming there is a requirement of a B.Ed license or educator license in India, but I'm not sure. I'm not experienced in Indian uh, laws of requirements. But yes, CRS will be 508 in May 2026. Should I focus on PNP or express entry? 20 months PGWP left till January 2027. My friend, you should focus on PNP and express entry at the same time, because PNP is all over the place and both of them are mutually exclusive. you can focus on express entry, you can create your express entry, and you can do a PNP related job. Hopefully you get an employer which is able to give you PNP support, and you will be able to get a PNP, if not an express entry. So both can go hand in hand. If you have time left till January 2027, then yes, that might be a good time. Education category in 2026 is still very good. I believe right now we do need 42202. We do need people in education category. So far, I believe education should continue in the year 2026 as well, but there is no guarantee. There is no visibility into what's happening next year. I believe early childhood educator related, educator assistant, and ECE should continue to be in demand next year as well. Should I gain 2 to 6 month work experience in social work and secondary school teacher, or one only? My friend, you should focus. You can do two jobs as well. If you can split 30 hours in one and 30 hours in the other one, have one job that is focusing on your express entry, and have a second job in the evenings or post times, so that you can balance of 60 hours, right? So have your time sorted. So, say for example, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., you could do one job 5 days a week. And then you could do probably a second job between, say, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., maybe taking care at a daycare school, working as an ECEA or anything. That's a separate job. Try to balance of two jobs. That will help you in focusing on both the things. I hope that helps you in making a strategy. uh okay, next question. Let's look at other. Okay, Patek, what about ONP Master Stream Draw? We haven't had an ONP Master Stream Draw yet. The employer job offer stream should start seeing new draws post July, because the newer employer portal will be launched next month. So all the draws should be available next particular month onwards. And ONP Masters is definitely most awaited, because a lot of Masters applicants are here. But this time, I believe Masters draws will have a very high competition and a very high score, because a lot of people have come here to do Masters recently, although most of them will not be graduates. So might not be as bad as this year, but next year is definitely going to be a cutthroat competition in ONP Masters. Um, okay, let me find a good question. Uh, 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 Okay, I think somebody wants to know how to have restoration and bridging. Okay, let me explain how restoration and bridging work permit works. Very important. If you get an ITA, say for example, you receive this ITA, and then within the next couple of days, your work permit is expiring. The rule says that if you submit your AOR, if you submit your file, which means you pay your express entry file fees and everything, and you submit your PR application, that means that the application is submitted, and the RTN check also happens, which means uh, the IRCC gives you a completion acceptance that the documents you submitted is completed, and this is applying for PNPs as well. In those situations, you can apply for a bridging open work permit so that you can continue working. If that bridging open work permit happens to be submitted after your current work permit is expired, then you can submit a bridging open work permit within 90 days. But within those 90 days, you will have to submit with restoration. Okay, so restoration will happen if you submit a work permit or a bridging open work permit after the expiry of your current work permit. I hope that clarifies. Mm, what other questions do we have? Okay, let's see this question. What about the people who got IT in 2024 in OINP ISS stream? They're still waiting for a nomination file, stuck since 7 months. Yes, Rocky, a lot of people are stuck with OINP, and not only OINP, all the other PNPs where the NOIs have not been generated yet. Files are being processed. In fact, with OINP, files currently in process are more than 1 year, and the province has accepted that. The reason of delay, one, is because they have been reduced on the quota for this year. Hence, they are not able to balance how many people to invite further, how to balance previous years of landings, and also how to balance the incoming refugee claimants from the federal programs. Once those balancings and those load balancings are completed, then they should start issuing NOIs. And the evident answer is that the previous PNP draw happened with the express entry was only 128 people. So that clearly shows that there is a loss of NOIs. People have not been given the due 600 points in express entry, and people are not able to apply for PNPs in the non-express entry profiles as well. A lot of people are waiting. Don't lose hope. But yes, I know expiring work permits, those are bigger issues. For those people, unfortunately, some provinces, including Manitoba and Yukon, are supporting, but nobody else is supporting. Yes, the PNP support letters are a much needed requirement as of today. Hopefully, OINP is able to understand this particular issue and start issuing either a support letter or at least start issuing the decisions on the NOIs. Okay, good question. Can I add spouse after ITA with new IELTS before submitting the application? Good question, Shubham. Let me break it down for you. If you try to create any changes in your express entry file after you receive an ITA, that will impact your CRS score. Whatever you do in your CRS score, for example, whatever you do in your express entry application, there'll be either an increase in CRS score or decrease in CRS score. If adding your spouse decreases the points or adding your IELTS increases the points, it should still be above the ITA cutoff draw. If your, say, for example, your cutoff was 529, adding drops it to 524, that means your file will be withdrawn. IRCC will not process. But adding IELTS increases it to 530, then that means you can do it. Have proper justifications and reasonings in place. Have the answers ready for IRCC, because IRCC can definitely say that why did you remove your spouse previously? Why did you add her later? And all of that you will probably need to answer. But yes, you can do it as long as doing those changes does not affect your scores negatively to the point where it goes below the cutoff line. Okay. Uh, what are the questions? Sir, I've received ITA and submit full application for PNP for healthcare. Eh, for PNP, is it sure that I will get a PR? My friend, submitting an application after ITA is never sure of a PR, but yes, if you receive an ITA, considering that the information that you submitted in your EY was good, accurate, and complete, if you provide supporting documents and are able to satisfy the officer, then a PR is almost certain, because then what they want to do is once you receive an ITA, then post the IT, there are three things that will happen. One, they would want to check your medical, your background, your criminality, and everything. If that is okay, then you will get it. Second, they want to check the supporting documents, that how many points you claimed, are you able to get those many points or not? Do you have a supporting documentation for that? And third, they want to look at the authenticity of the documentation and your situation, whether you're lying, whether you're misrepresenting, whether you're trying to hide anything, whether you're trying to gamify anything. That will define your PR. If you're able to do these three things positively, then you will mostly get your PR approved. Guys, well, that's it for today. We are running late for further dues in the day. Today's session was very nice. Thanks a lot for tuning in. It was lovely chatting with you. Do watch all our videos. We will be uploading a lot of details during this week. Do consider subscribing to our social media. We are there on Instagram. Regular updates are there, and YouTube as well. So until next week, which will be Saturday, I hope to see you soon in Canada. Wish you all the best in your journeys ahead.